Robinhood, investing, trading, playing a game. Unfortunately, I think many of the Robinhood investors haven't gotten around to investing. So they're somewhere between trading and playing a game. And Robinhood makes it seem a lot like a game. Here, I actually signed up for a Robinhood account quite simply because if you're going to do research, if you're going to write a paper about Robinhood, you should know something about it. I was fascinated, but a bit shocked. One thing that I noticed was I authorized a bank transfer into my account. I thought I'd have to wait 3 days until the money cleared before I could trade. I was able to trade instantly. Another thing that goes on, and many of you have probably heard, is they give you a free share of stock. Sort of like, we'll get back to that. You give it, it's like, go ahead, get started. Here's your free share of stock. And it's gamified in many ways. Let me talk a little bit about some of the things in the environment. First of all, the environment is quite simple. And that makes it feel safe, and it makes it easy to trade. There's a limited amount of information. Why does that matter? Well, it's an interesting thing because very often the financial services industry, whether it's sometimes financial advisors, sometimes the insurance company, they use complexity to intimidate investors and consumers. I've seen this. I had a friend who asked me once to help him. He was having a financial advisor talk with his advisor, and he said, "I never understand anything this guy tells me." And I said, "Well, sure, I'll help out. Why don't you send me your most recent statement?" There were about 300 different positions here. There were stocks, bonds, ETFs, REITs. It was just an amazing assortment of things. There was even a muni mutual fund in his tax-deferred account, which sort of shocked me. So he was confused by it. I somewhat tongue-in-cheek said, "Well, you appear to be diversified, maybe not optimally." But so that company was using complexity to make him feel intimidated, and not doing like what a good coach should do, which is help someone understand. Maybe not that they don't have to be able to work out the 5-factor model, but to basically understand why diversification is important, why you want to keep your fees low, why you want to buy and hold and be in the market for the long term. So Robinhood's going the other way, and they're using simplicity to make it seem like, oh, you don't have to worry about this. There was an ad run by Ameritrade back in 1999 where a tow truck driver picks up a businessman whose BMW is broken down. And they're chatting. And it turns out the tow truck driver has been trading stocks. He's made so much money, he's bought an island. And the idea there is anybody can do this. Don't worry, it's simple. So Robinhood's doing a bit of this. The limited information, it makes it feel safer. They have much less information than many other brokerage firms even have. And part of the thing there is if there's really a lot of information, people might look at it and say, wow, I don't understand all this. It's a lot to digest. Maybe I should sit back. But instead, this is simple. It's easy to trade. When you place a trade, virtual confetti drops from the screen, and there's a little happy music. And another part of the experience of a lot of Robinhood traders, though not necessarily the Robinhood app itself, is that people meet on different social medias such as Reddit. And there's a big social component. What's everyone doing? What do you think we should buy? And as I'm sure you all know, that was a lot of the driving force in the GameStop fiasco a few weeks ago. And this is, again, one of the ways in which the market the environment in which investors find themselves is changing. 50 years ago, you actually didn't know what other individual investors were doing. You could look up the next day in the paper and see which stocks were up and down. And you might say, well, people must have been buying the stock because it was up, but you didn't know whether it was individuals or institutions, and it was a slow feedback. Now you can go on to a chat site with other investors, and they'll tell you what they're doing. They'll tell you what they plan to do. They'll tell you why they're doing it. You can feel like you're a part of this group that is doing the same thing. But that doesn't necessarily, in fact, that doesn't lead to better investing. It leads to more of a social experience. And when enough individuals are doing the same thing at the same time, it affects markets. So a little bit more about Robinhood. As you probably know, the commissions are, there is no commission. And a question is, how does Robinhood manage to survive not charging commissions? And as many of you may know, but surprising number of people don't, because I talk to my students, many of whom have Robinhood accounts. The main source of revenue for Robinhood is what's called payment for order flow. In 2020, Robinhood received $687 million paid to Robinhood basically by high-speed trading firms. And what were they paying for? They were paying for the right to be on the opposite side of the orders that the Robinhood investors placed.